So we'll be working closely with the water board, and next year we'll be proposing specifically what to do, but it's going to involve most likely digging and then doing a lot of testing. And then we'll complete that cleanup. Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. So now the next stop is going to be Flounder.
Okay, next up, Flounder Court.
All right, so now we're going to, we have another solid waste disposal area that is not along the perimeter, that is not along the coastline. And it's in the Bigelow Court area. So Bigelow Court and Haliburton Court are two areas internal, and we're going to go there to see them now. Haliburton Court, the cleanup is largely completed. It was a storage area for electrical transformers. And those transformers over time leaked while the Navy was here, and they leaked PCBs and oils into the soil. So we did major soil removals in that area. Bigelow Court has other contaminants, namely lead and some PCBs. PCBs aren't at high level, but they're high enough where we have to dig them out. And then some elevated lead. But it also had 3 radiological objects that we found. And we'll be going to Flounder Court because that's really the best view of Bigelow Court when you're at bus level here. At least it was yesterday. We were able to get a really good view of what we've done. So what we did there is we demolished 2 buildings, 1101 and 1103, and you'll see that. And then we did pretty massive digs across the site to get the contaminants, and then we did confirmation sampling to make sure that we were leaving a clean site, and that is in the hands now, or will be shortly, of the regulators in a report. The Navy believes we pretty much finished cleanup at Bigelow Court, which is a good thing. But now we need to get with the regulators and see what they'll examine the data and we'll see what happens. But again, this is an example of the process does come to an end. There is actual cleanup on sites, and then they eventually close. Okay, and you're seeing to your right again another storage area. There's lots of storage areas that include vehicles. We'll see another one on the other side of the island after we go to Site 27. And again, this is all part of commercial tenants that are working with the Treasure Island Development Authority. Okay. All right, so we're about to go into Flounder Court, which is a cul-de-sac. So we won't have to go into reverse here. And then Darius, if you could just, as closely as you can sort of align the bus parallel to the green fences.
Writing about how many buildings in that building here, right now.
Yeah, pardon? Do we need to move them? Thanks, Patricia. Do you need my help? You sure? Okay. All right, so we're coming up on Flounder Court. Now, we're in the midst of 1400 series housing, which is the last housing that was built. This area we did intensive at various depths, intensive soil sampling, looking for radiation. We didn't find any in the 1400 series. We're still working with the regulators on that, though, because there will be more work to do before we can close out this section. This has a slightly different, this part of the base has a slightly different history than the rest of the neighborhoods. It was, of course, built last. And there were existing buildings here since the Golden Gate International Exposition, the World's Fair, that is, that meant that the grading of this area would be different than the grading for the other housing areas. Okay, so you can see a great, doesn't it look a little bit like an archaeological dig, if you can see that? Can you see that, the hole there? Okay, now eventually, again what I said, what's going to happen eventually? The hole's going to be filled in, right? We have to compact it and fill it in with our soil pile. Okay, and you can see the foundations there. Now you can also see we've set up some screening areas. Can you see the little screening areas with the sandbags and the visqueen, that's the black plastic? Okay, those are going to be screening areas we're going to use in the future. We have limited real estate on the island, and we have to find a very compact, efficient way of screening soil. So when we start digging up the Sweetas, part of the soil from the Sweetas are going to be screened right here, and that's going to be its use. You know, about first, second quarter of 2015.
What is that word?
Sweet. I'm sorry, solid waste disposal area.
I see some new graffiti.
Again, call me on it when I start heading into acronyms. I don't like to do that.
Where?
Okay.
Shrooms.
So that's what this area is.